Everybody. Hi, everyone online. Thanks for coming in. It's so good to see you. Let's start on our backs. Happy, beautiful, gorgeous, sunny Tuesday. So coming in as that gentle reminder, check around, especially if you're at home or in your office, that you have a safe place. If you stretch your legs out wide and your arms out wide, there's no cords or slippery pieces of paper. You have a nice, safe, grounded, supportive surface to be on. And then giving ourselves some time to let go of where we just were. Try and let go of the to-do list. Transitioning into a little more of the present moment. It might be helpful to use your body, feeling the weight of your body connecting to the surface, to the ground, to the earth beneath you. From that place of weight, you might feel a little more anchoring, letting go, dropping down, dropping in. And connecting to how you define that feeling of being grounded. It's really different for each one of us. Well, we would all, most likely find similar parts, similar descriptions of being grounded. There's also parts and pieces that would be different. So it's very unique. Giving yourself a few moments to define what it feels like to be grounded more physically in your body. Energetically. How can grounding help us be maybe a little more at ease, a little more calm, patient, focused? And then the relationship of grounding with your physical body, your energy, and your breathing. So that gentle reminder that we're trying to practice authentic breathing. It's very natural. Letting your body breathe for you. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then bringing some of that attention and awareness to your lower rib cage. So if it helps, you can put your hands on your lower rib cage. Noticing if you feel the breath here. So sometimes when we're feeling more anxious, upregulated, a little jittery, we'll chest breathe quite heavily. And that would be way up near the base of the throat into the collarbones. So when we're seeking that place, that feeling of physical and energetic grounding, it might be really helpful to feel the breath a little lower in these lower ribs. So you might feel the inhale, the ribs getting nice and wide. And as you exhale, feeling the ribs release down and in. You might bring that feeling into your back body a little bit, feeling what you can't see. You feel the breath, not only in the lower side ribs, but all the way into the lower back ribs. Let's try 3 breaths. And as you take a couple more exhales after those 3 breaths, noticing maybe with a little more awareness now of the breath in the back ribs. Let go of some tension in the chest. So as you take a longer exhale, softening some through your throat, through the roof of the mouth, maybe softening across the collarbones. Couple more breaths here. Just noticing what you feel across your chest. Do you feel a little less tension? Maybe we would describe that as a little more ease. We might feel the breath a little differently there. Might feel the tongue a little more relaxed, the roof of the mouth a little spacious. The eyes might even feel a little more at ease. The gaze up towards the ceiling might feel softer. We're going to try and maintain a little more of that ease and space, that feeling of letting go across the chest as we take your arms up towards the ceiling. Letting your arms feel a little heavier as they anchor into the back of the shoulders. They draw down towards the earth. And you feel that width and space across the back, especially the upper back. So you could find your right arm into your shoulder blade across nice and wide across the spine into the left shoulder blade through the arm. Remember that feeling of breathing into the back of the rib cage. Let the back of the rib cage come back into your awareness with your breathing. And then keeping all of this space across the back as we take your arms out like a T towards the floor. Just let them hover. And then stretch your arms out from the shoulder blades. So again, feeling those shoulder blades on your back. Notice if you've hiked those shoulder blades way up into your ears. Just try and exhale, maybe let the shoulder blades slide down a little bit, nice and wide. Soft fingers. With your exhale, we'll pull the arms back up towards the ceiling. And reaching out, you might imagine you're pulling some cables or some cords. You had a little bit of weight. And just going out and then back on up towards the ceiling. Waking up your core, that rectangular area of strength. We're trying to keep the rib cage really steady with the spine. So as you feel your arms, maybe then linking your arms into your shoulder blades, and you feel your shoulder blades moving on your back in relationship to your spine being really steady. So we don't have to move the spine to move the shoulder blades. 3 more. And then after those 3, the arms will come back out floating a little bit or a lot off the floor. You're going to choose. So maybe your arms come like an inch off of the floor. Maybe they come a little bit higher. You choose Where can you put your arms in relationship to a little more ease in the chest and feeling a little more strength and connection through the shoulder blade, tricep, back of the arm? And then let's come all the way back to how you define that physical grounding, that energetic grounding with relationship to your breathing. 3, 4, 5 breaths here. Breathing into the back of the rib cage, into the lower rib cage. With your next exhale, sweeping your arms up towards the ceiling. Let's add the legs, bringing your knees up over your hips. Pause. So you have your knees and your thigh bones. So thigh bones to knees. And then let's just bend and straighten the legs 3 times to wake up a little more feeling through the back of the legs. And then let's bring the feet all the way back down to the floor and bring your arms down and take a couple breaths. So you have your right back hip and you have your left back hip. And right in the middle of those 2 hips, you have your sacrum. So if you rock a little bit side to side, you might feel that triangular sacrum. We're going to use that sacrum to provide a little bit of physical grounding. Okay, so as we work in the second series of Dead Bug, we'll take the knees back up over your hips and pause and feel the weight of that sacrum. So nice and heavy through your sacrum. Taking your arms up towards the ceiling. And then straightening the legs to your capacity. As you straighten your legs, can you keep the weight and that awareness of the sacrum to help you stay grounded? So back of the hips, back of the shoulders. Then let's add the sacrum. And then the back of your heart. Inhale, take all the limbs out nice and wide like a Y or an X. Exhale, pull them back up towards the ceiling. Following your breath, you feel those places of grounding. Back hips and the sacrum. Back of the heart out to the shoulders. Can you keep all of those places in your awareness and grounding as we turn this into contralateral movement? So then when all the limbs come up, you're going to keep your right arm and your left leg steady and take your opposite parts out to the side. So left arm, right leg, go out and come back in. Left arm, right arm, left leg, go out to the side and come back in. So moving side to side, can you keep the back hips and the sacrum heavy, physically anchored? Back shoulders, back heart, physically anchored, helping to provide physical grounding and stability. Going side to side, we'll do maybe 3 more on each side. Following your breath. Moving from your breath helps us stay present, embodied in the body with our breathing. And then we'll bring all the limbs back up. Either bring your knees in and give your knees a little hug or bring your feet to the floor. And come back to your experience. What do you notice? What do you feel? 3 inhales and 3 exhales. When you feel your next exhale, rolling over and coming to tabletop. So when you come up to your tabletop, then we're just going to really sit back on our knees for a moment or sit back on our heels. Okay, so If this is really uncomfortable, you can, of course, sit crisscross applesauce. Okay, or you can bring your feet out in front of you. Okay, so we're just going to sit back for a moment and then sweep our arms out in front of us and work on feeling what you can't see. We don't really get to see the shoulder blade. So as you take your arms forward and up, see if you can feel that shoulder blade, right side, left side, slide up. See if you can feel that shoulder blade slide down. And then adding a little bit of challenge, a little bit like the dead bug. As you slide your shoulder blade up, can you keep your spine and your rib cage pretty steady? Meaning when you take your shoulder blade up and your arm up, try not to push your chest forward. 2 more. So that relationship, feeling, understanding shoulder blades can move separate, independently from your spine. And then when you come back to the handshake, we're going to go out wide like a T and bring the arms back in. Couple more. So can you feel again that relationship of the shoulder blade with your spine, with your rib cage? Then as your arms come out into a T, sweeping your arms out and up, and bringing your arms down and in. 2 more. So arms come higher than your shoulders, feeling those shoulder blades. Bringing the arms down and in. Last one. Nice. And then build your tabletop again. So flipping over. Hands nice and strong. Now, remembering you can do table that supports your wrist. So if you need to come up on your fists, come up on your fists. If you need to come down on your forearms or go to a table or a chair, do that. So looking down at your hands, feeling the back of your shoulders. And you feel your shoulder blades. You might let your shoulder blades exhale down out of your ears a little bit. Like when we were on our backs, trying to have width and space across. So the back of the heart space a little more broad. And then going down into the back of your hips, right hip, sacrum, left hip. More like a level rectangle, ears, shoulders, hips, curl your toes. Staying right here, or if you like downward facing dog, floating your knees off the floor and then lifting the hips up and back. Press the weight back off the wrist so shoulders draw way back. Step your feet wide. Bend your knees. And then press back. 3 breaths. And then with your exhale, come back down to your table. And then press back. We'll take a child's pose, giving you an opportunity to reconnect to the floor, to the ground, to the earth, to breathe through your back. What do you notice when you breathe in? What do you notice when you breathe out? Full exhale, let all the air out, and then pull yourself back up to your table. Give ourselves maybe 5 breaths to rebuild, find, feel your strong tabletop. And look down and see your elbow creases. So as I look around the room, There's a few of us with these elbow creases facing straight. Look down. Ideally, we want this elbow crease to face in. Okay, so you bend your elbows a little bit and you get those elbow lines. You want to have a rotation where those elbow lines are facing in. And then that strength, we could curl the toes, strength from the core, shoulders nice and strong, upper back, abdominals, floating table. You can lift your knees a little bit off the ground. A little more challenging, we're going to push up to downward facing dog. And then bend your knees, come to either tabletop or floating table. And try for maybe 3 to 5. If 1 is plenty, then rest. If you want more challenge, do a few more. This takes quite a bit of concentration and connection to your posterior back body strength. Always, always rest when you need to. After you've done a total of 5, maybe at max, so max it out at 5, we'll bend the knees and go back to that child's pose. And rest again for 5 breaths. So giving yourself 5 more breaths, breathing where you feel you need to breathe. Remember that feeling, that connection to physical grounding, energetic grounding, and the breath in the back, lower ribs. 2 more inhales and 2 more exhales. And then full exhale. We'll all figure out how to come on up really slow to standing. So go pretty slow, especially if you're in the room, it's pretty warm in here. Go slow. It's no race. Come on up. Do a nice full stretch. And then we'll take the arms down. Great. Let's step your feet wide. So let's let your heels come in a little bit and your toes go out. So do you remember when we were on our backs and we were feeling the back of the shoulders? And then we were feeling the back of the heart space, the sacrum, and the 2 back hips. So as you stand here, imagining there was a wall behind you and you could let the back shoulders, the back heart, the hips, and the sacrum go into that wall. Then add your head, let your head go back a little bit. And that awareness as you go up and down 5 times in your sumo. So each one of us feeling a little something different from that back body. So as you go up and down, your physical body is going to talk to you, give you a little feedback. Your breath is going to give you some feedback. Then we're going to find just the right bend for us, just the right challenge. And then come back into those 4 points of the back: shoulders, back hips. Then add your back heart space and your sacrum. Then add your head. Maybe go a little lower. Good, feeling those places, maybe lift your heels a little bit. 3 breaths. Exhale, pulling ourselves back up. Sweet, stepping your feet together. If you're in the room, you want to turn and look out at the lake, feel free to take a moment to settle and look out at the water. We'll take 5 breaths in standing mountain. Breathing, grounding, noticing. And then with your next exhale, turning to step your feet wide, deciding what you want to look at, how you want to be. Nice wide stride. Left leg's going to roll in, right leg will roll out, and just be about heel to heel. So your hips, pelvis have room to move. We're going to find this left back leg and just get it nice and anchored. Can you feel your left back heel connect all the way up into the left back hip? So lots about your back body. And then we're going to start to bend and straighten your right knee 3 times. So it's really easy to put all the awareness in that front right leg. But as you bend, can you do both? Can you feel the right leg bending, but also stay connected to your back left hip all the way down your left heel? Next time your right knee's bent, pause. Bring your hands either to your hips or maybe your lower ribs. Maybe your hands join at your chest, noticing 3 breaths. Maybe with your next exhale, you bend your right knee a wee bit deeper. And then straightening the right leg. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Heel to heel. Right back hip, all the way into that back right heel. Nice and strong. Bending and straightening your left knee 3 times. Next time your left knee's bent, pause. Can you blend the awareness of the left leg bent with the strength and length of the right back leg, hands either on your hips, your ribs, or at your chest, 3 breaths. Exhale, straightening the left leg. Both feet are going to face a little more just straight ahead. Hands can come to your hips. Noticing the back of your skull in relationship to the back of your heart. Right between your shoulder blades, going out nice and wide to the shoulder blades, back of the shoulders, down to your hips. Into that middle sacrum space between the hips. Left leg rolls in. Right leg rolls out. Inhale, we lift the hips a little bit. And then with the exhale, we're going to bend the right knee and pause. Great. Bringing your arms out in front of you. Remember the very first exercise we did on our backs where we felt the back shoulders and the heart. And then we open the arms and let them float off the floor to stretch the chest. Opening the arms. Can you feel a little more from the shoulder blade, out the back, bottom, tricep of the arm? We're going to create some movement. We're going to straighten the leg, bring your arms out in front, clap, and then open the arms. Move from the feeling of your breath, okay? So exhales, we go wide. Inhale, we straighten and clap. 3 more breaths. Next time your knees bent and your arms are wide, pause. Reconnect in your own understanding, your own way to your back body. Maybe bend your right knee a little deeper. Side angle, tipping over, elbow to the knee. Left arm can reach up towards the ceiling. And if this is too much for your shoulder, by all means, bend your arm, put your hand on your hip. 3 breaths. Feel your exhale, connect and pull yourself back up. Both arms come up, straightening your right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Hands come to your hips, let your left knee bend. Find just the right shape and pause. You come back to feel your back body, head, back of the heart, the shoulders, sacrum, hips. Good. Bringing your arms out in front of you. Here we go. So a little different. Straightening, clap and bend. Feel that movement. Connect to your back body. Moving from the rhythm, the feel of your breath. Can you feel the breath and then move? Good. Next time your left knee's bent, your arms are out in front, pause. Opening the arms. Nice and strong, back of the heart to the shoulder blades. Tip it over, elbow to knee. Right hand's like a high five. 2 more breaths. Nice and strong as you pull yourself all the way on up. Great. Step your feet together. Whoo. And give yourself 5 breaths. Coming back. Remember your connection to being a little more physically grounded, energetically grounded. Breathing. When you feel your next exhale, we'll turn or walk towards the back of your mat. So just walk towards the back of your yoga mat. And give yourself a moment to really feel yourself drop a little more down into the center of gravity, which might help you just naturally let go. Ooh, some tension in the throat and the chest. Might bend your knees a little bit. So we're going to swing your arms back in a little bit of extension. So they're going to come a little bit behind the hip and shoulder. And then they're going to swing a little bit forward. Okay. We're going to start with a pretty small range of motion here. And we're starting with a small range of motion because we don't want a lot of push and pull or cat-cow feel in the spine for this one. Okay. Not that that's wrong. We're just not doing it like that today. So you might feel some movement in your spine for sure. But we're going to try to resist that movement. We talk about resistance. So as you swing, maybe your arms get a little more range of motion. You could start to swing them way up. And then if you want more challenge, you could sit back into a little chair squat and then ground through the heels, come on up and maybe do a little bit of hip extension, pushing that pubic bone forward. So the pubic bone can push forward if you're going that direction, and the pelvic crest will tip back. And we'll do 2 more. And then we'll come on up to standing. The arms will float up. And we'll lift up through the back rib cage. Excellent. Bend your knees as much as you need to fold forward. without too much tension, pain, jamming in the low back. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold. And walk your hands all the way out and pick a shape. Maybe you pick downward facing dog. Maybe you pick tabletop. Maybe you pick child's pose. Take 3 breaths wherever you pick. And then after your 3 breaths, we're going to figure out how to come back on up to standing. So if you're in down dog, you could walk your hands back to your feet. If you're in table, you might come up through downward facing dog to standing. We'll figure it out. And then we'll take a standing meditation for about 5 breaths, settling back into grounding and breathing. Notice whatever you're noticing. And one more sun salutation. So you can start from a little chair squat if that's where you'd like to start. You could start with standing, okay? So meet yourself where you are, maybe chair, maybe standing. Inhale, back of the ribs lift up. Exhale, long spine, fold. Walk your hands out when you're ready, downward facing dog or tabletop. Remember to press way back off of your wrists. Exhale when you're ready, come all the way down to table. And then we're going to lower all the way down onto your belly. When you get all the way down on your belly, you can have your hands by your sides like the bottom of a push-up, or you can stack your forearms and let your head come down. Soften your chest and try and just give yourself a moment to let your chest relax. 2 more exhales to let your chest soften, 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 soften. And feeling that relationship with your back body. Can you lengthen and breathe through the back body? Shoulder blades. Soften down out of the ears. Legs strong and long as they reach back. And then let the front of your hips feel a little heavier. Remember that sacrum area. Could even start to feel a little more grounding, like your sacrum, we're going to go into the floor. A little more challenging. Reach through your legs, maybe lift your legs up a little bit off the floor. Maybe lift your chest up, healing your chest, baby cobra. To locust pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, chest and legs lift up. Exhale, lower down. 3 more or rest with your breath. After those 3, come all the way back down. And let your body just rest into the floor. You can turn your head to look to the left or the right. Soften, breathe. Sometimes the poses that we do in yoga are more about what we can let go of. So maybe this is one of those times for you. As you try and relax and let go, using the ground to help support that feeling of release. Is there maybe some unwanted or unneeded tension somewhere? Could be energetic or in your mind, in your body. 3 exhales. And then we're just going to roll onto your back. So just outstretch an arm or roll on over. If you're someone who really loves to stretch their low back, feel free, go ahead, draw your knees into your chest. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side. You can bring your feet down to the floor in a couple of breaths. And then your feet come down, and we're going to find that constructive rest shape that we started in. We'll press your belly button into the floor, which will press your low back into the floor, and you'll start to curl your tailbone up a little bit and roll up into a little bit of a bridge. And then we'll roll back down. We're just going to do a couple of these. More about feeling and lubricating, understanding that connection of the hips with the low back here. So you move your pelvis, and then you round through your low back. You might roll all the way up to the back of the shoulder blades. You might not. We'll just do 2 more. And then after those 2 more, you'll bring a hand onto your lower belly, maybe one onto your chest. And we'll just give ourselves some time to check in with what we're feeling, what we're noticing. Asking ourselves what we need. So we always take the last couple minutes of class for self-care. Maybe you need a little more stretching. Maybe you need time to breathe. Maybe you want to take a really short 2-minute nap. Just check in with yourself. How can you use the next couple minutes to really benefit the rest of the day? Maybe it's focused breathing. Maybe it's a favorite stretch, a twist. We'll take the last couple moments here, minutes here in silence. Maybe you're moving, maybe you're still. Just noticing your experience. What does it feel like to take an inhale? What does it feel like to take an exhale? Let's all take about 5 more calming breaths. How would you define a calming breath? What does your calming breath feel like? And following the next inhale all the way in, letting it go all the way out. And if your knees aren't already bent, we'll bend your knees. We'll take your arms up towards the ceiling. One more time, just take them out like a nice big T. And then you can wrap them around your legs and then roll over or roll on up to sitting. Thanks everyone online. Thanks everyone in house. So good to see everyone. Thank you and happy Tuesday. I hope to see you on Friday. Just check in at the front desk because we never know where we'll be on Friday. So see you soon. Thank you.